My name is Sarah Morgan. I'm 28 years old, and this is the story of how I turned betrayal into strategy, pain into precision, and a cheating husband into a financial ghost. I used to believe in love. I believed in fairy tales, loyalty, shared bank accounts, Sunday morning kisses, and promises made over wine and candlelight. I believed my husband was my partner, my safe place. He told me to quit my job, said I deserved rest. He said he'd take care of everything. And I believed him. God, I was naive. For 3 years, I smiled through lies I didn't even know were being told. I cooked dinner while he took other women to restaurants I never stepped foot in. I balanced the budget while he spent our money on weekend getaways with someone 10 years younger than me. And the worst part? He thought I'd never find out. But I did. And when I did, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't confront him with a wine glass in hand like some dramatic movie. No, I did something far more terrifying. I stayed quiet. I smiled. I kissed him goodnight. And while he spent thousands on spa treatments, champagne, and silk sheets for his mistress, I logged into our bank accounts and started rerouting our future to my name. This isn't just a revenge story. It's a story about reclaiming control, about what happens when a woman stops waiting to be saved and starts saving herself. While he played with fire, I studied the matches. While he spent blindly, I calculated in silence. And in the end, he was left with nothing but regrets. This is my story. And if you're going through something similar, I want you to know you are not powerless. You are not stuck. And the moment you stop letting someone else hold the pen, you start rewriting the ending. I met Daniel when I was 23. He was smooth, confident, 10 years older, and already successful. He had this way of making every room feel smaller when he walked in. Not because he was loud, but because he didn't have to be. And me? I was young, eager, working 2 jobs and trying to build a future brick by brick. He made me feel like I could rest, like I didn't have to struggle anymore. He said, "Let me take care of you." And for the first time in my adult life, I let someone do that. At first, it was perfect. Date nights turned into weekend trips. A shared apartment turned into a house with a view. He insisted I quit my job. "Why work when I've got us both?" he'd say. And it sounded romantic at the time. I didn't see it then, but looking back, that was step one of the trap. Isolation wrapped in luxury. I went from independence to invisibility, slowly, subtly. He took over the finances to simplify things. I didn't question it. I didn't want to seem ungrateful. I told myself I was lucky. I told myself this was what stability felt like. But deep down, I started shrinking. I stopped buying little things for myself without asking first. I stopped calling my friends back. I even stopped looking in the mirror for too long because something in my reflection had started fading. But Daniel? Oh, he shined. New suits, new watch, new energy, always working late, always on calls, always a new story. And I believed it, because that's what love does. It blinds you while it quietly rewrites the rules. I was living in a dream, but it wasn't mine. It was his. Designed, controlled, and orchestrated to make me feel grateful for being locked in a golden cage. And I stayed there until the dream cracked. And when it did, I saw everything. Every lie. Every manipulation. Every dollar I didn't know was being spent behind my back. But the best part? He had no idea I was waking up. At first, it was small. A receipt left in his jacket pocket from a jewelry store. But I never got jewelry. A sudden rush to delete messages when I walked into the room. A faint trace of perfume on his shirt that wasn't mine. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself he was busy, tired, distracted. That he loved me. Just not in the same loud way he used to. I excused everything, because that's what we're taught to do when we're lucky to have a provider. But the signs kept stacking up like unpaid bills. A mysterious charge for a spa retreat. A hotel booking in the city, when he claimed to be in Boston for business. His clothes smelled like roses, when I knew our home only smelled like vanilla. And then, the phone. One night, while he was in the shower, I saw her name pop up. Just a first name. Brielle. A heart emoji. And I froze. Every part of me wanted to look away, pretend I didn't see it, but my fingers moved before I could think. I opened the thread: dinners, photos, inside jokes, hotel room selfies, a conversation from just 2 days ago. "Can't wait to see you again, babe." My hands went cold. My stomach dropped, but my face? Stone. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even confront him, because something inside me clicked. I realized this wasn't new. He hadn't just slipped. This wasn't a mistake. It was a routine, and I had been edited out of the story months ago. That night, I laid in bed next to him, pretending to sleep. He snored peacefully, as if the double life he lived didn't weigh a thing. I stared at the ceiling and thought, he's stealing from me. My time, my money, my sanity. But he underestimated me. He thought I'd break. He thought I'd confront him and give him the power to lie again. I didn't. Instead, I started planning. I had her name. I had their messages, but I needed to see it. I needed to burn the fantasy to the ground with my own eyes. So the next time he said he had a late client dinner, I smiled, kissed him goodbye, watched him fix his collar in the mirror and lie straight to my face with the same ease he ordered coffee. And then I followed him. I borrowed my friend's car, one he wouldn't recognize, parked half a block away, watched him step out of our house wearing the same cologne he wore on our first anniversary. That detail stung more than I expected. He walked into a rooftop restaurant, the one we never went to, said it was too pricey. 15 minutes later, she arrived. Young, pretty, overdressed for dinner, but perfect for showing off. Long dark hair, designer bag, that fake, confident laugh that made me want to tear something in half. They kissed. Right there, at the table, in front of everyone, like they were something real. And I just sat there in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel, eyes locked on them like I was watching a movie I couldn't pause. My blood boiled, but I didn't cry. Not a tear. Because now it was real, tangible, proven, and that gave me power. I took pictures, timestamps, even filmed a short video as he held her hand and leaned in like he was saying something tender. Maybe a lie, maybe a promise. That night, when he walked back in the house, I was already in bed, lights off, pretending to sleep. He kissed my cheek like nothing happened. I wanted to spit, but I smiled in the dark, because now I had everything I needed. And he had no idea he was already losing. After that night, I stopped reacting. I became the perfect actress in the longest, most dangerous role of my life. The unaware wife. I kissed him goodbye like nothing was wrong, laughed at his stupid jokes, cooked his favorite meals. I even packed his gym bag, knowing full well he was going to her. But while he was slipping deeper into lies, I was rising in silence. I opened a new email, a new phone number, rented a P.O. box, all under my maiden name. I met with a lawyer, discreetly, told her everything. "Can I protect myself without tipping him off?" I asked. Her answer? "Yes, but you'll need to be smarter than him, every step of the way." So I studied. I read about asset protection, joint account loopholes, quiet withdrawals. I sat in coffee shops reading legal blogs while he thought I was doing yoga. I opened a secret bank account. I linked it to a private savings wallet and started setting up auto transfers. Small amounts at first. Nothing he'd notice. I also called the bank pretending to be updating security questions. He used our anniversary as his password reset code. Typical. I changed it. I began downloading PDFs of every financial statement, every credit card charge. I flagged everything he spent on her: hotel stays, fancy dinners, Uber rides to her apartment. Every dollar he wasted became a reason for me to take one back. At night, I stared at him while he slept, so peacefully, so arrogantly, and I thought, you really think I'm dumb enough to break down? But you just handed me the map to destroy you. I smiled more, got my nails done, played sweet, even sent him spicy texts just to keep the mask in place. Because when a man like him thinks you're not a threat, that's when you're the most dangerous. He had no idea. I wasn't plotting revenge. I was building an exit, one transfer at a time. This was no longer about heartbreak. This was war. Quiet, surgical, and brilliant. I watched him bleed money like a gambler with a loaded deck. $180 on sushi, $320 on lingerie, $1,200 for travel expenses, that somehow always aligned with her birthday. Every time he spent, I moved. If he blew $500 on dinner, I transferred $1,000 from our joint savings to my secret account. If he bought her perfume, I sold one of his luxury watches online and moved the money out before he noticed. I became invisible in our own finances, a ghost in the machine. Every click, every withdrawal, every shift, calculated to seem like it never happened. And oh, I kept records. I had spreadsheets. I color-coded his betrayals. Red for lies, blue for cash spent on her, green for every dollar I took back. I even printed out his texts to her and filed them under Evidence Phase 1. I canceled all auto-renewals on joint services and quietly re-registered them under my name alone. Netflix, insurance, even the gym he never went to. Then came the real play, the hidden investments. He had a brokerage account I once helped him set up. He forgot I still had access. One late night, while he was snoring in bed with his phone clutched like a child's toy, I logged in. He hadn't checked it in months. I moved half of it. Liquidated, withdrawn, transferred. Into my name. Do you know how good it feels to take back what's yours while the person stealing from you has no clue? It's addictive. And the best part? He was so wrapped up in his little fantasy, so sure I was too soft, too stupid, too loyal, that he didn't notice his entire empire was quietly collapsing from within. I wasn't just reclaiming money. I was reclaiming the narrative. He built a world on lies. I built an escape plan on truth and silence. It all led to this. One Friday afternoon, I saw a calendar alert pop up on his laptop. He forgot to close it before stepping into the shower. A weekend in Napa Suite confirmed Brielle. He booked a $2,700 wine resort for the two of them. Romantic getaway. While I stayed home catching up on laundry. That was the moment. The green light. I logged into every account we shared. I moved quickly, precisely, like I'd rehearsed it 100 times. Because I had. $17,480 from joint checking to my personal savings. $8,200 from the backup emergency fund. $12,000 from our crypto wallet. His idea, my tracking. Even $1,000 from a PayPal account he thought I didn't know existed. I left exactly $23.19 in the main account, just enough for him to feel the sting when the dinner bill bounced. Then I did what any brilliant, quiet woman would do. I froze the joint account. I canceled both our credit cards. I removed my name from the mortgage. I filed the divorce paperwork I had been sitting on for 2 months. All within 1 hour. All while he was shaving, probably smiling in the mirror, texting her about what wine to bring. And me? I was packing my bags. Not dramatically, not emotionally, calm, focused. I took my laptop, my jewelry, my documents, and the ring he gave me on our honeymoon. I'd be pawning that for silence. I left the house that night like a ghost. No note, no goodbye. Just a digital trail of decisions. 1 hour later, I got the first text. Hey babe, did you use the card today? It's declining. I stared at the screen. I could have replied. I could have said something clever, but I didn't. Because silence, real silence, is the sound of power, and I had all of it now. I gave him one last chance to face me. Not for closure, not for drama, but for the final blow. I sent a message the next day. Dinner? Just us. One last time. Your favorite place. He took the bait in less than 60 seconds. Showed up in a crisp shirt, hairstyled, fake confidence pouring out of him like cheap cologne. Smiling like he was the one in control. Didn't expect this, he said. Glad you reached out. I just nodded. I wanted to give you something. I slid a thick envelope across the table. He raised an eyebrow, chuckled. What's this? Go ahead, open it. Inside, a printout of our drained bank accounts. Credit card cancellations. Screenshots of every message to Brielle. A termination letter for the joint mortgage. And on top, the divorce papers. Signed. He flipped through them with shaking hands. Confusion morphed into panic. What is this, Sarah? It's everything you didn't see coming, I said. You lied. You cheated. You spent like a king. Now you're broke and alone. He blinked, still trying to piece it together. You can't just take everything. I leaned in, eyes locked. I didn't take everything. I took mine. You just didn't realize what was mine because you never saw me as equal. That was your first mistake. He opened his mouth, probably to beg, maybe to bluff. I stood up before he could. Enjoy your wine trip, I said. Oh, wait, you can't afford it anymore. I walked out of that restaurant like I was floating. No looking back, no guilt. That chapter? Closed. He played with fire. I burned the ground beneath him and walked away untouched. I didn't cry after I left. I didn't spiral. I didn't drink wine on the kitchen floor or post cryptic quotes on social media. I got to work. I moved into a small, sunlit apartment with peeling paint and bad Wi-Fi. But it was mine. Every square inch of it breathed freedom. I bought a used laptop, nothing fancy. Started offering freelance services online. Admin work, writing gigs, small projects. It wasn't glamorous, but for the first time in years, I was building something for me. I checked my secret savings account every morning like it was my silent cheerleader. I started running again. Reading, sleeping better. I stopped asking for permission to feel good, and I realized something no one tells you. You don't heal when they apologize. You heal when you stop waiting for one. 3 months later, I launched my own virtual business, consulting for women starting over. I didn't tell people the whole story, not at first, but they felt it. They saw it in how I spoke, in the way I looked people in the eye again. I went from his wife to my own name, from the background to the front seat. And he? Well, he reached out. Of course he did. A pathetic email full of regret and excuses. I miss you. I didn't realize what I had. Can we talk? I archived it without opening the attachment, because I was done being someone's second thought. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I was powerful, not because I hurt him back, but because I healed forward. One night, I opened my laptop, poured a cup of tea, and wrote it all down. Not for revenge, not to get sympathy, just to tell the truth. I titled the post, "While he spent on his mistress, I quietly took back my life." I hit publish and went to bed. By morning, it had 78,000 views. 2 days later, over 1 million. Women from everywhere flooded the comments. This is exactly what I went through. You gave me courage. I thought I was alone until now. And I realized this wasn't just my story anymore. It was ours. The story of women who stayed too long, trusted too much, and lost themselves in the process. Until one day they didn't. Podcasts called. Articles followed. A publishing offer came in, and I said yes. I wrote every chapter with brutal honesty. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the silence, the planning. But I also wrote about what came next. The clarity, the strength, the absolute joy of starting over. My inbox became a place of sisterhood. I met survivors, warriors, quiet heroes, and every time someone wrote, "Because of you, I made my move," I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Pride, not in what he did, not in what I lost, but in what I rebuilt, from nothing but truth and courage. I didn't just get my money back, I got my voice back, and I wasn't afraid to use it anymore. I used to think power came from control, from speaking louder, earning more, winning arguments. But now I know. Real power is quiet. It's in the decisions you make when no one's watching. It's in the moment you choose yourself without asking permission. I don't wear anger like armor anymore. I wear clarity, peace, boundaries. People still ask me if I ever regretted leaving him. I always say the same thing. I never left him. I left the woman I was when I believed he was all I deserved. Today, I wake up in a home I paid for with my own name. I run a business built on truth. I speak to women who once whispered their pain and now stand tall in their purpose. And him? He became a lesson, a necessary chapter, not my ending, just a turning point. If you're listening to this, if you're somewhere in the middle, confused, scared, stuck, I want you to hear me. You are not crazy. You are not weak. And you are not trapped. You are just beginning. And when you decide it's time, not when he's ready, not when it's easy, but when you're done surviving and ready to rise, you'll find the door was never locked. And freedom? It was always yours. You just had to choose it.